actually on the flight there, Scott was like, oh, it's that far away? Toronto's, it's not like beside Edmonton. I was like, it's called the East Coast. Like,
Okay,
we're on the
hold on.
other side.
In my mind, after traveling for so many years internationally, I was looking forward to a Toronto flight because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. It's only, and in my head, I'm thinking 3 hours. But it's actually like 5.5. But when you compare that to a 16-hour flight, it's nothing. So,
Mr. International.
Okay, I'm not looking for sympathy. I just don't want people to think I don't know where Toronto was on a map.
You genuinely said it's on the other side of Canada.
Yeah. I didn't think it was that far away. I thought it was a little more in the middle, you know?
It's okay. It was too late by then. We had
already signed the lease and we were on the flight. I actually remember that. I remember looking at the map and I was like, where are we going?
Thankful to be there. Not complaining. It was just funny. Humble beginnings. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Studio North podcast. Woo! We are your hosts, Carmen and Scott Forsyth, and we are the owners of Studio North. And today we are excited to be taking a look behind the scenes into how Studio North started and all the way up to where we are today.
Behind the scenes, baby. Some BTS. So a little timeline of the journey. I guess I can start us off because that's an easy year to remember, which was 2018. We started looking for spaces at the end, towards like November, I believe, of 2018. And then we found a spot, and it was in beginning of 2019 that we negotiated, found the place, and then pulled the trigger, and then took possession March 2019. You're gonna have to correct. Fill in the gaps and correct my, because I have such a poor memory.
We did go through about like 4 to 5 other studios that we thought could be potential ones.
Yeah.
We were just so excited to start. So I remember we had low expectations. We didn't really know what we were looking for. So one was in like a basement, kind of. It was in the bottom.
Underground, yeah.
So there wouldn't have been like a sign-in area where like they can just do it in the stairwell. It's fine. Yeah. But we didn't know about ventilation, or I don't even think it had windows.
No. Yeah, that would have been bad. Yeah, I'm glad we did not choose that spot.
But we were so excited.
For sure.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then another one I remember, it was on North Road. So we were like, this is so meant to be.
You're right. Yeah.
So we really wanted to make that work, but it was massive.
Yeah, no, just the layout was a little odd, I remember. Yeah, but I
a diagonal or something.
That's so funny you mentioned that, because that's so true. We thought it was like, hey, this could be it. One. This is the one. It's on North Road, but that didn't work out either. No.
And then there were other ones that, just took a while to find the right one. So it was definitely a few months before we found where we are today.
Yeah. And where Vancouver is right now, that actually was a warehouse and office space for security doors. And if you look in Vancouver, we have a security door still in the studio, in Studio 1. And you might wonder why there's a security door there. And we just decided to keep it. And that's because that was the actual company that was in before us. And so it was half office space, half warehouse. And so there was office wall, like your classic office space. Like you got your baseboard heater on the wall. You got like your yellowish walls. You got your T-bar ceiling, like just classic office space. And then there was basically a warehouse space to store all of the security doors, and then we just had to gut the whole thing and start over from scratch. So that was that's what it was before it was Studio North.
Yeah, and it took us a while, I think even now, but anyways, it took us a while to figure out how to turn off the security door, because sometimes it was just timed. So during class, all of a sudden it would just go and everyone would be like, what's going on? Is there a ghost? And we're like, no, we just don't know how to turn it off. Sorry. Don't be scared.
That's so funny. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But now we just leave it open. Yeah. So, no ghosts.
No ghosts, please. So that was we got the space, 2019, and then we started demo. And I think maybe something people might not know is like we basically did it all ourselves. Like they're for all of the spaces that we've opened. There hasn't really been like a construction company we've used. It's just like us and my dad and Uncle Jim. And I think the reason behind that is obviously we want to put like the love and, the attention to detail into it as well. But I think also when you're starting out, you don't have the resources. Like all the resources just went into, negotiating and obtaining the lease and then buying all the supplies that you need to build the space out. And so we didn't really have a choice. It was kind of just YouTube Academy, just learning everything on YouTube, and obviously from Uncle Jim. If we haven't talked about Uncle Jim, shout out to Uncle Jim, the people's uncle. He's been such a blessing in our lives and helping us navigate the construction of all of our studios. So shout out to Uncle Jim. But yeah, it took us 3 months.
Yes,
I'd say
guess so.
Yeah, I think it was a 3-month project for Vancouver specifically. And it was cool because I feel like for most of our studios, we try to keep it low key. Like we don't tell anybody that we're opening a studio.
Yeah.
And I think the reason, it's not to, just surprise everyone, but I think it's, we just don't want to get people's get people's expectations set to a certain degree. Like if we say we're opening a studio, they might have it, they might have a picture in their mind, but then also like things can happen and you can, maybe things don't work out you want to open in, let's say 3 months and it gets pushed back to 6, 9, a year away and you don't really have control over that. So we've always kind of kept our cards close to our chest anytime we're, opening a space, just because we're not sure, and we don't want to let everybody know what you're planning.
Yeah,
until,
especially because it was the first one too. So also at the time, like there was still things going on. Like you were preparing for Vibe, and we were still working, or we were still life was still going on. It was hard to tell people like, hey, this is happening when we still had other things in the background that were still in the works. But it was really cool to see you and your dad become handymen. It was so cute, just Uncle Jim telling you what to do, and now you love Home Depot.
Oh my goodness.
And just all the things.
Can we get a Home Depot sponsorship? Straight. I'm not even lying. If anyone knows a connect at Home Depot, please leave a comment or an email down below, because I don't think I've spent more money anywhere at any other store in my life more than Home Depot, and I feel like we should get a shout out from Home Depot, or just a little discount. Yeah, we're on studio number 3, and it's all Home Depot. Yeah. So I also just love Home Depot. It's just fire. Eddie, I know it sounds super lame, but I get fired up when it's a Saturday or Sunday and it's time for a Home Depot run, because you just never know what you need until you get there, and then you remember, yes, I forgot we need a bracket for this, or yes, we need a new door hinge, or whatever it is that we need for the space. I've got a I don't know what I have, but I love Home Depot. So
yes, you do.
Yeah, it's my spot.
Anyways,
sorry.
It was really cool to see you become so passionate about Home Depot.
Okay, I guess not just Home Depot.
Not Home Depot, but just learning about everything.
Yeah.
Like flooring, lighting, and the sound system, what we wanted for the space. Because like we said, we didn't know what we were looking for in the beginning. So yeah.
Another big shout out to Dev, obviously, who helped a ton with, our sound system and lighting. For those that might not know, shout outs Dev. He's going to get so mad that I mentioned him on the podcast, but
picture make
right
it worse.
Here. He's a big deal. He was on tour with some of these massive artists all over the world, traveling, touring with them, and being in charge of stage lighting, sound equipment, you name it. He did it all, and he was a huge, valuable resource that we got to just bounce ideas off, and he sent us links of what we need to buy. And I think we knew what we wanted. We just didn't know like the specific details because, you know, traveling a ton internationally, you get to experience a lot of different studios. And so it was cool. We kind of had like a mood board of like, okay, this is a photo from a studio I was at. I really liked the way they did this. And then here was another video and I really liked the color scheme that they had. And so we were able to kind of pick and choose from our past experiences as dance teachers for, you know, over the past 10 years to kind of create this, in our, you know, perspective, perfect studio. What would that look like? What would it sound like? What would it look like visually? What would the front desk check-in experience be? What would the studio experience be? So I think we definitely had an idea of what we wanted, but then the right people were just there at the right time, and it was cool. It wasn't just, you know, when I say it was just us that built it, I don't mean just physically us too, but it was, you know, our community. Like we even had help from Brotherhood. We had help from Style and Grace, whether it was tearing stuff down, painting walls. And so that was really cool to see us, you know, we've built communities with Brotherhood, with Style and Grace, and, you know, being able to then have them as well contribute to building something that's bigger than just our team and our group and like for our community. I think that was pretty special too.
For sure. Yeah. And now I'm thinking about the lounge. Like I remember that's something we really, really wanted. We just wanted it to be a space where dancers could come and connect and hang out before class, after class. And yeah, so I remember we really put a lot of time and energy into making it like nice, like my marble wrapping idea for the front desk. Not that makes a lounge more that reach that goal, but just making it a nice space where people actually want to come and hang out. But the first version of it looked like an Apple store.
Totally.
Because we thought, oh yeah, everyone's going to come and do their homework and like do that. And then we looked at it and we're like, this doesn't look like welcoming or doesn't give the vibe of like, hey, what's your name? How do you? It's more like, hey, I come here to work. I don't know.
No, 100%.
I forgot about that.
There were square desks and there was chairs around the desk, so you just sit and like look straight across at somebody,
or look down at like what you have to do.
Yeah, and that's.
But we were
so
going
funny.
for like a minimal vibe.
Yes.
So we had good intention. Again, just didn't know how to execute it. Yeah. But now our lounge is solid.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, I totally forgot about that. You're so right. And I do remember people also saying like, okay, this is real estate that you're going to be giving up. It could be a studio,
right? But
you're saying you want it to be a lounge? Like, you know, from a business perspective, when you're looking at, you know, the amount of square footage in a space that you're going to lease and you're paying per square foot, it doesn't make a whole ton of sense to take like a quarter of that, write it off and say, yeah, we're not going to make any money per se or bring any revenue in this space. It's just going to be like a waiting area or a lounge. And we kind of pushed back a little bit and said, no, we really think it's important. Like the lounge in Vancouver and the lounge in Toronto technically could be more studios, even upstairs in Toronto as well. But we really held that, what you mentioned, like it was really important for us to have a space where people could connect before class, they could connect after class, they could feel like they can just go after school, after work and hang out, and they don't have to, you know, hang out at a coffee shop until 2 minutes before class and then zip over to the studio and take class. But it's more welcoming, more inviting, and it's been cool to see. I just love seeing videos, photos, even just being there in person and just seeing conversations happening in the lounge. And you have no idea who these people are or what they're talking about, but to be able to facilitate that is pretty cool.
Oh, are you crying?
No, I just choked on my spit.
I thought some tears were coming.
No, not yet.
But with that said, if you're coming to the Vancouver, Toronto studio, please make use of the lounge and say hi to somebody while you're in there. That's what it's for.
Because it could have been a studio, so use it, please.
Yes. Yeah.
Another thing I remember was in the beginning, it was very much just me and you. Like we didn't have a team. I know we mentioned that before, and we have an amazing team now. But in the very beginning, you know, we were the ones that were at the front desk checking everybody in. We were the ones that were filming all the classes. We were the ones that were posting on social media, and it was a lot. And do you remember how long we did that for?
I'm not too sure. I would say a few months. Like we still had help, and like you said, Style and Grace and Brotherhood were great.
Yeah.
And it was so informal. I remember being like, do you just want to help out, or can you please help out? Like, we'll pay you, obviously, but
we don't know what, we don't know how.
So thank you for just trusting us and always being down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it took a few months until we got some
system and
solid
processes.
roles.
Yeah.
Like Kelvin was the front desk. Adrian.
I do remember that. I think that was so cool. It was like our faculty were also like staff. Like it was just the same group of people, whether you saw them in the studio. And to this day, we still have faculty that also help us out with front desk. But back then it was all hands on deck. We were all trying to figure, there was no roles. There were no things that were, am I doing this? Am I doing that? It was just, we're all figuring this out as we go. And because there was no playbook. We didn't really have, a model to follow or a model to copy. We saw inspiration and we saw how other places were doing it, but we felt like, I think we can do something a little different. And so it was a lot of learning as we went. And it was exciting. I remember that was like an exciting time in our lives. And it was a good time, but I think it was also a challenging time as well with other relationships and other friendships. When you launch a business and you launch a studio, you'd expect sometimes that everyone's super happy and super supportive of you in this big venture and this new success. And you can't think why your friends and the people that are closest to you wouldn't be happy for you. And to be completely honest, that was something we did experience. We did experience some relationships. It tested those relationships and they didn't last, which is super sad. But I think that's just a general note about growth and success and making moves is, sometimes relationships get tested and some relationships can't survive that. And so I think that was something we also had to experience that I've heard other, business owners and entrepreneurs experience as well, that they launch something and they expect and really hope for all of the support and they get it, but then it's kind of surprising for the certain people that aren't there, like that didn't go to your opening or that didn't encourage you in the first few weeks. I remember there's a quote somewhere, I don't know where it was, but it was, try not to just I'm going to butcher this, but something about look for the people that aren't cheering for you or something like that.
Or pay attention to those who don't clap.
Yeah,
like
for your successes. Yeah. And this isn't we're not out here trying to throw shade on. It happened. It kind of sucked that it happened, but we learned a lot from it. And I just feel like it's good for people to know, anyone who's, looking to make moves, looking to grow, looking to push and to start something, just keep those expectations realistic, that it's not always, rainbows and butterflies. Like there's some of the people that are closest to you won't be able to handle that growth that you're going through. And you just got to wish them peace and love and just keep, pushing on. Yeah.
Like you said, we didn't know that side, or up until then, in that point of our careers and our lives, everyone was always so supportive of us, always so happy for us. So we thought it would just keep going in that direction. And for the most part it was, but I think, like you said, how it affected me personally was, I think I took it as, did I do something wrong? I had a lot of doubts, on myself as a teacher, a leader, should I be doing this or did I do something wrong? And it took a very long time for me to realize, you can't control how other people will react, or you can have the best intention, but it doesn't matter. People will just have an opinion or just not support you or just have their own reasoning, and you can't control that. You have to be okay with it. And that was a really hard thing for me, especially because they were people who were really close or that I thought would support this next chapter of our lives. So yeah, that was a hard one, but we're here. 5 years, a lot of healing, a lot of, I don't hold anything against anybody. I think now I'm at a place where we're going to continue to push forward. We're going to continue to serve the people who want to be a part of this, and just makes me even more grateful for the people that have stood by us from day one, not just in our opening, but all the things we're going to talk about. So yeah, just wish everyone the best, but definitely something we learned as business owners / just being a part of a community. Like I think our industry is so rare that we call it a community. Like there's no, or maybe there is like a podcast community, like,
right.
or things like that, or construction worker community.
100%.
Like, so yeah, I think that's been a fine line we've been navigating.
100%. And to build on that, like you said, to see the people that have stood by us, but then also the people that believe in the vision and have joined since, I think is so cool. Like, it's just, I don't know. Obviously, we're so passionate about what we do. It's so cool to see people who moved to Vancouver because they're like, yo, I believe in what you guys are doing and I'm about it. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. You moved here, like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then to be able to build with them, and like the team just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which is exciting and it's awesome. But definitely in the beginning, it's a journey that I don't wish we didn't experience. I think it made us stronger, but it would have been cool if someone gave us a heads up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it would have been cool if someone was just like, hey, just so you know,
this is normal.
Yes.
Yeah. Cause I think for us, I'm like, what did I do?
But it's not just our industry. Like, it's just, I truly think it's like human nature. I think it's not just our industry. I think it's anytime success and people and your friendships are around, can they deal with that type of success? I don't think it's just dance. I think it's whether you're an artist, whether you're a rapper, whether you're a entrepreneur, whether you're a basket weaver, whether you're a, whatever it is that you do, and then you start to become successful and make noise, I just think the people around you, it affects them and it's up to them on how they react to that. And so I just think it's a human nature thing. We even experienced it. I remember experiencing it with Brotherhood. Like when Brotherhood started making noise, it was the same exact thing. It was people trying to kind of knock you down a couple pegs. Like, yeah, you're not actually that good. And that was just more fuel to the fire to be like, okay, bet. Like, we're going to go out and win everything. It was like, seriously.
Yeah, for sure. But that was also, you're a competitive group. Like competition it's like in your nature to be like, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. But this is like, what? You don't want to be a part of what we're doing? Or like, is what we're doing bad? Like,
for sure.
And I think that's what really hurt me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
no, that makes a ton of sense. But that, to be honest, that like, I think we interpreted it, the same events, we interpreted differently.
Yeah.
So for you, I remember seeing you were really hurt and I'm like, my heart was broken because of that. But then my reaction to that was, I'm just competitive. So I'm like, okay, bet. Like watch what we do. That's literally all I was focusing on. And I think that just added more fuel to the fire, and why we just went 110,000% was because now I had this almost like not a chip on my shoulder, but I had just this added, like
motivation.
Yeah. And so again, I'm thankful for it, as crappy as it was, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the only hard time. 6 to 8 months later, once we opened, and then a global pandemic hit. And that was tough, to say the least.
Yes. The first thing I remember was the live streaming on YouTube.
Was it YouTube or Instagram?
I think it was YouTube.
Okay.
And it was Kelvin's class. Do you remember this?
No.
And you guys were like running from each studio, like trying to make the live stream work.
No way.
And it was like blurry. I was like, oh my gosh, Scott's probably so stressed. I think I was watching from home. I don't know where I was.
Oh man.
That's probably why Kelvin hates student TV.
Online classes. That's hilarious. I honestly, I don't remember.
So the first thing we tried to do was live stream. So whether that was Instagram, YouTube. So we were trying to find a platform to still provide classes for our community, but hopefully reach outside of our community was the goal. But so we had some trial by fires there.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I'll try to find some. You don't remember?
No. It was just all a blur. Like we were moving so quick. Because I remember it was March. I'm pretty sure I looked it up. I'm pretty sure it was like March 16th they told us we had to close. So we closed, and then the next day, I think we were just panicking and scrambling. So we were just like, okay, Instagram live classes. So I think we did that, and we got like a ton of people, and we're like, whoa, okay. And then the next day, I think we started streaming like with a camera. It wasn't just on our phone.
Yeah, on YouTube. That's what I was talking about.
Okay. And then, probably some bumps. We were trying to fix some stuff there. And then it was only like a couple weeks later, we like fully launched Student Art TV. So we kept doing those like online streaming classes. And then, we just decided we got to find a platform for this. We can't just do a YouTube and Instagram. And so that's when we developed Student Art TV. And it was pretty quick, that turnaround to learn how to do all of that.
Yeah. I remember for me, I was like, oh, this is a nice 2-week break. Like, unfortunate timing, but like we've been going strong since we opened. So I'm going to take this time. But you were like, no, we need to do something.
Because I knew it wasn't going to be 2 weeks. I knew they said 2 weeks. And from day one, I was like, there's no way this is going to be 2 weeks. If the whole world is shut down, this isn't...
Right. Looking back, I shouldn't have been so nonchalant.
No, but it was it wasn't you. It was just that's
everyone,
what they told us. They just said, we just need to do a quick break, guys. It's 2 weeks. Like, just stay at home. And in my head, I'm just like, this is going to be at least a year, and we need to figure out how. We just took on, a lease. We just invested all of our life savings into the studio. But not just that, we have all of these teachers and people that we give opportunities to, and that they don't have that right now. So we got to figure something out. And so I think that was the fuel to the fire. But I don't think you were just chilling. You were just like, oh yeah, that's okay.
I definitely was like, oh, I'm going to take this handwriting course or calligraphy course, things like that. Yeah. I don't know. But anyways, we made it happen. That was amazing.
And then, it just went on. It went on longer than I think anybody expected. Even me, I thought it was a year, and it turned out to be over a year. So,
well, the first bit, so it was March, and then we were able to reopen in May.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. It's it's just a blur. It's like
it felt so much longer than
closed, and then we were open, they were closed again, and then we're open again. It was just a blur. I just remember being frustrated in that time because, we were as new small business owners, as new studio owners, the government just didn't they did their best. I'll give them that. But they put us sometimes in tricky situations where, there was a lot open to interpretation, and we don't know how to interpret these new guidelines or these new rules. We just opened a studio. All I'm thinking about is how do we stay afloat? How do we stay alive? And then, just all the different mandates and what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. You're allowed to have youth classes, not adult classes. And then it has to be low intensity, but not high intensity. And it was
like a new regulation every week or almost every day.
And it wasn't we weren't even hearing it directly from them. We were getting sent news articles from friends that are like, hey, so apparently you can do this now. And I'm like, man, okay, so let's learn how to pivot. And so again, I'm not knocking, the government. Everyone was just doing as best as they could. I was just remembering, I was like, this is a really tough time for us because we're doing our best, but there's a lot that I think could have been done differently, and to put that onus on other small business owners. And I don't know if other people, I could be wrong here, but I don't know if other people noticed, there wasn't a lot of small business owners attacking other small business owners. It was a lot of depending on the regulations. It was a lot of people that weren't small business owners attacking small business owners over whatever it is that they were upset about. And I think the reason was because all small business owners were looking at each other being like, hey, we're just trying to figure this out. I'm not what are we doing? What do we do? We're doing what they're telling us to do, but I'm not going to come out and attack you because I know exactly how you feel, lost and just trying to figure this out as we go. So just respect all the other small business owners that went through that, because we knew how hard that was. And it was a tough time. Things were changing, all the time, and you have to deal with people's expectations and what they think you should do. And then there's things that are open to interpretation, what they consider youth and what do you consider low intensity. And then there's other things that aren't open to interpretation, like the vaccine passport. Like that was just a law. There was no, but people thought, oh, it's, open to interpretation. What are you going to do about it? And we're just like, there is no choice. You just have to, it's like taxes. Like you don't get to decide, like, we're not going to pay taxes. You just have to, if they say it's required, you're just like, okay, regardless of what you believe, we got to do what we got to do. So that was just a crazy time to navigate. 8 months into,
opening a new business.
and like you said, we were just still figuring out systems and processes and who's on our team and who's an employee, who's a contractor, what are we doing? What are we supposed to do? And then you get hit with the, pandemic. I feel like if we got hit with it now, it would be a lot different because we've got, 5 years under our belts. We're like, okay, we'll figure it out. But 8 months in is crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Wild.
but I mean, I think the one thing we learned from that was resilience and how to pivot and just staying on your toes. And so, like I always say, would I not take it back? That's not the right word. Would I not wish that to have happened to us? No, I just wish someone gave us a heads up or like, I wish someone, said that could happen, but that's never happened in our lifetime. So I wouldn't take it away. We definitely learned a lot and I think we're stronger for it. And now coming out of that, it's like,
we can take on anything.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. It's just a lot more confident in what we're doing and why we're doing what we're doing.
For sure. Yeah. So I feel like all of these, we had a lot of huge trials in the beginning, but now that I can't even believe we're at year 5, but the fact that we are and like how far we've come and like what we've been through, I feel so much more confident that I don't think we would have without all those things.
Yeah. So coming out of the pandemic, which like what we thought was the end of the pandemic, that's when this idea came to Carm, and I know exactly where I was. We were taking a couple days off. And so we got away for a couple days. We were just lounging, sitting, trying to rest for a bit. And at that time, there was just a lot happening within the Toronto dance community, just with the leadership and studios. The studios were closing. And I just remember you said, I feel so bad for Toronto dancers. And I wish there was something we could do. And I was like, that is tough. Like, it sucks. And then you literally just like look over to me and you're like, what if we opened a studio in Toronto? And I was like, are you serious? Like that was people might think that was my idea, but that wasn't my idea. It was your idea. But then as soon as you said that, my mind just started racing. And then I'm like, is this possible? Can we do it? That's like on the other side of Canada. Do they need something? Absolutely. Can we provide something for them? Absolutely. Is it super scary? Yeah, 100,000%. But I just remember that so vividly. It was just so nonchalant. You were just like, I think you saw something online and you were scrolling and then you just felt bad for them and wanted to know if there was anything that we could do. Because we know what it's like too. We know what it's like to be dancers in a community at times and not have a space that you can go and that you can, call home and feel safe there and want to be able to train and, hang out with your friends, take class, all of that, have a platform. And so that just came from you're just the heart. You're the heart of the Studio North. And so I just remember that vivid. I have it like I don't remember a lot, but I remember certain core memories, and that was one of them.
Yeah. I just remember at the time, like you said, I just was seeing things on social media and just based off of what we had just gone through. And I just felt for them. Mm-hmm. And that's where it was coming from. I don't know if I said we should open a studio.
I'm pretty sure, you did.
I think...
Or you said... Okay, maybe you didn't say we should open a studio. You said...
Is there anything we could do?
Yeah.
Just based on, what we just went through and how we managed to withstand everything that we went through. I'm like, I feel like there's something we should do. Like, they're Canadian. Like, they're a community that's, close to us. And so, I remember having those thoughts. I don't know. I feel like you pitched studio, but I think it's because we kept going through scenarios like, okay, is there a system we could give them, or like a curriculum, or should we reach out to some people there? I think that's where we started. And then we're like, or should we just
open a spot
like
out there.
see if a studio is needed? Like, is that what they need?
Yeah, because then that started the process of us reaching out to some contacts we had in Toronto and just asking around and saying, do you know of anyone that's looking to open a space? Because this isn't going to work if we're coming in and somebody's already building a space. Like then that's cool. Then we don't need to fill that need because sounds like somebody else is filling that need. But from our conversations that we had with a lot of the people in the community, a lot of leaders in the community, they were saying, not really, like no one's opening a space. And so then that was kind of the green light, I think, for us to say, okay, what does this look like? And so that was, I think it was October 2020, and we placed a bet. We placed a bet that we're nearing the end of the lockdowns. I remember this. And we thought it was because we thought, we had been open, close, and then we had been open for a while. And we said, okay, we're going to place a bet that a lockdown, we're going to take possession of this space eventually. I'm kind of jumping all over, but I just remember we placed a bet and we were wrong.
Yeah. I think we thought it would be December would end or January.
So we took the space in November and we thought it would be ready by February, which it was. What we didn't account for was more lockdowns until July. And so I remember we flew out, we took a look at a space. We had some help in Toronto, and we settled on this one spot that was, Midtown Toronto. And
mind you, we had no idea about what Toronto.
Totally.
We didn't know what Midtown was.
Yeah.
Like we've been there a few times, but
we taught a couple times there, but
the place that we ended, or the neighborhood that we're in now, is like perfect. Like we love it. And we just can't believe, we just didn't know that existed. Actually, on the flight there, Scott was like, oh, it's that far away? Toronto's, it's not beside Edmonton. I was like, it's called the East Coast. We're on the
hold on.
other side.
First off, geography is not my forte. I'm very bad at geography, but let me defend myself. When traveling internationally, we had these long haul flights to, Asia and whatnot. And anytime there was a connection with Toronto, it seemed so short. And so in my mind, after traveling for so many years internationally, I was looking forward to a Toronto flight because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. It's only, and in my head, I'm thinking 3 hours, but it's actually 5.5. But when you compare that to a 16-hour flight, it's nothing. So
I don't feel bad for you, Mr. International.
Okay, I'm not looking for sympathy. I just don't want people to think I don't know where Toronto was on a map.
You genuinely said it's on the other side of Canada.
Yeah. I didn't think it was that far away. I thought it was a little more in the middle, but I was wrong.
It's okay. It was too late by then. We had
already signed the lease and we were on the flight. I actually remember that. I remember looking at the map and I was like, where are we going?
Plus the time difference.
Yeah.
So that still wrecks us, but thankful to be there. Not complaining. It was just funny. Humble beginnings.
Yeah. Jeez. But that was in the middle of the 2020. That was the middle of the pandemic. Everyone was masked up, vaccinated up.
Yeah.
They were super strict on all the flights. And we flew out to take a look at the spot. It was a quick trip. I think it was only a couple days, just to essentially, kick the tires, as they say, just make sure the spot is what it's, it's supposed to be. And then I think we met with a couple leaders in the community and then just kind of talked to them, tried to gauge where the scene was at. And then we basically pulled the trigger and said, okay, we're going to do this. So we signed the lease, flew back home, worked a bunch more. And then we flew back in December, I believe. November, might have been end of November, early December of 2020. And then we just lived in Toronto under lockdown for 4 months.
Yep.
It was me, you, my dad, and then
Uncle Jim.
And Uncle Jim. Uncle Jim came out.
Uncle Jim actually stayed in the studio.
Yeah.
Had a whole air mattress set up. There's showers there. If you didn't know, we just boarded them up. Yeah. But that's where he would live. That's where he lived for 3 months?
There was yeah, pretty much. I mean, we did offer him a place to stay.
Yes. No,
We're not forcing him.
Sorry.
We definitely offered him a place to stay, but
he just wanted to get up and work and
Yeah.
get this done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, are you sure?
yeah, he's a champ.
Yeah.
He's the best.
People's uncle. So
Love him.
thank you, Uncle Jim.
That was crazy to say the least.
Well, I remember I was still in school.
Crazy.
So I feel like you guys were at the studio a lot, and
Yeah.
then I would study or be in class and then come later and bring dinner or something.
Yep.
But it was so weird living in a city or being in a new city, but you can't do anything. So it was like a ghost town. Like everything was closed.
Yeah.
I had to Uber Eats everything or just make food. But it was very interesting just being there during lockdown.
Mm-hmm. And we thought it was going to, and like we thought we were catching the tail end of the lockdown. Like I said, we thought, we might, it's going to be December, January, February will be, March will be good to go. And the lockdown just kept going.
Yeah, I think Toronto had the longest lockdown.
I think I remember reading that in the world.
In the world.
I think that's,
Oh, wow.
I could be wrong. Somebody's going to fact check me, but I'm pretty sure I saw that they had the longest lockdown out of like full lockdown. People could not
Yeah.
leave. So, can we really complain about an extra 6 months, when it was a whole year and a half that they were locked down? No. But did we have to pay our monthly lease for those extra 6 months? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the landlord, didn't really budge on that. So that was a bet that we placed, and eventually I think it paid off, but it was a little further. So I remember the space was ready in March. Like we were done. Everything was up, speakers in, mirrors up, ready to announce, and it just locked down.
Yeah.
So that was
That was hard.
March, April, May, June, and then July. I think we got notice that lockdown was lifting, and so then we opened end of July. Grand opening in Toronto.
Fun. Sorry, one thing I was going to add. So even though we were on lockdown, or we were in the city during lockdown, we were still able to get to know certain areas. So the first Airbnb we stayed at was on King Street, and we were typical tourists. We're like, oh my gosh, we're right by the CN Tower. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And then now, like, King Street is just notorious for being not the place you want to live. It's just so busy and crazy there.
Yeah.
And then poor air quality. Remember I got asthma?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I had asthma and I was scared it was COVID, and we didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
You don't remember this?
No.
So then I didn't come to the studio for a few days because I didn't want to get you
Was that
sick.
when I slept on it with a mask on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can have some photos here.
I remember
but
that.
I've never had asthma in my life, but it was just poor Toronto air quality. So
Yeah.
shout out Vancouver.
Yeah.
That was one thing. And then we stayed in ice condos.
Oh, the ice condos.
And we had no idea what ice condos was about.
Okay, because again, classic tourists, we're coming in thinking we want to, I think what the cool part about Airbnb is you get to experience different parts of the city. And so we didn't know where we wanted to, get a longer Airbnb basically. So we tried a couple different areas, and one was like in the heart of downtown. Let's try it out, like right in the center of all the action. And so we did ice condos. Holy smokes.
Oh
that
my
was an
gosh.
event.
Yeah. Well, we were on the 60th floor. And so
Yeah.
every morning, all the city lights would turn on at 7 or 6. And we're like, oh, this is crazy. Waiting for the elevators was crazy.
By city lights, do you mean the sun?
No, there's a big Manulife.
Oh, yeah.
Their
Okay,
yellow
yes.
sign
Yes,
would just
yes,
turn
sorry.
on in the morning.
Sorry.
The sun.
I wasn't trying to be mean. I was also just not
I just
trying
also
to...
love my sleep, and Scott has a hard time waking me up in the morning. Anyways, different episode. So yeah, I remember our
Fire
washer
alarms,
wasn't working.
Fire alarms kept going off every day and in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but good thing we were there when it was just lockdown, because when the city opened, then we learned how crazy and unsafe ice condos
crazier
were.
down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was moving. I think, remember, it was when the wind hit,
Yeah.
we could feel the condo move a bit. That was wild.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like you said, the elevators had to wait a really long time for those. And there was a lineup because it was during the lockdown, I think, and there was rules that you could only have a certain amount of people in. So that just made it even longer wait.
Yeah.
And so we got, we discovered quickly that's not where we wanted to stay for a longer period of time. But then other parts that we really enjoyed, Leslieville.
Yes, that was probably our favorite.
Yeah, we loved that area. We got right down the street from the studio. We got another Airbnb in there. Loved that area. Annex area, just on the borderline of Yorkville. Really loved that area. A lot of cool spots. I think that's what's also really cool about Toronto is there's so many different like cultural hubs, like whether it's Greektown or you've just got a collection of people, and it's a different experience everywhere you go. And I don't think we have that to the same degree in Vancouver, but that was really cool to experience when we were out there staying for a few months.
A lot of cool local shops or small businesses,
food
mixed in with like residences, or there's just more history in the architecture, which we loved. So that was cool to experience. And again, we love the area that we're in, where we get to live and have the studio. So thanks, Toronto.
Yeah. It's good
Another
stuff.
Toronto fun fact. We moved into our condo now the night of our opening.
Oh man, you're right.
So we didn't have an Airbnb.
Right. We were staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
We were leading up to the grand opening of Toronto, we were in a hotel and and then we signed a lease for the small apartment, and we got the keys the night before.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So our luggage was literally in the faculty lounge while we had our grand opening.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
Yeah. Very thankful.
Very thankful, very blessed.
That we didn't end up in ICE condos.
Definitely.
So yes, we opened end of July 2021, and it was a really special summer. Just getting to see the city come to life. I feel like it's a whole other place when it's the summertime, just from being there the past 2 years. So that was really special to just see the space filled and people there and people happy to dance again after such a long lockdown for them.
And sorry, I just want to jump in, but just shout out to Toronto dancers for also being so open, I think, to like outsiders, because we're from Vancouver, we're from the West Coast. And so I'm sure there's hesitation when you see someone else coming in and opening a space. And I think we're just really appreciative of the community that opened its arms and said, like, we'll give you a shot. Yeah. Like, we'll give you a chance. Don't mess it up. That's pretty much what the conversation was. And we're like, and we're not going to, like, we're going to do our absolute best. We've learned so much. Like, this is going to be great. But it wouldn't have happened unless, dancers in Toronto were even just somewhat open to us coming in. And I think, the posture was never like, oh, this is Studio North and like West Coast. The posture was, hey, we're here to serve. So whatever you need, let us know. And we're going to try and do our best, absolute best to provide that while also staying true to, who we are, our brand, and our way of doing things. So I think I have a very large soft spot for Toronto, because for a city that's known as being the screwface capital of the world, like, to be so welcoming to outsiders, I think that really meant a lot to us.
And I think it just aligned perfectly, because we were coming in with, we want to fill a need or we want to help. We're not trying to take over by any means or do anything like that. Like, our intention was literally just that. So I think they were more open to it and not just full on screw face to us.
Totally.
Yeah. But it's been very special getting to be there and grow with that community, or see how the community has grown since we've been around. So that was, summer 2021. And then
started our journey back and forth between Vancouver and Toronto every month. Yeah,
so that's still something we're navigating.
Yeah.
But we love going back and forth, and we're very grateful to be able to do that. So there was one trip I came back on my own, and Scott stayed in Toronto for a bit. I think this was February. And I get a call. I literally just landed, and Scott goes, "Can you go to Unit 3 in Vancouver, the landlord just called me and said it's for lease. And I'm like, why do you want me to go there? What do you mean? Just take some photos. Just take a look at it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I just got home, first of all. And what are you trying to do? So I went and I did take photos. I did look around. I'm like, he obviously wants to know if this is possible to have a studio there. But another fun fact, that was the first unit in the complex that we looked at first. And we're considering to open our studio there. But again, no lounge or no space for check-in or anything like that. So we were more open to it this time because it would just be an extension of obviously our Vancouver location. So that was the journey towards Studio 3, which, was awesome because we did feel that we were kind of outgrowing our studios in the other unit. And it was just nice to be able to provide another exciting venture. Exciting venture for our dancers in Vancouver.
Or just like filled the need. We needed more space. We had more teachers, we had team rehearsals, we had things that we were just feeling capped at, and we didn't have enough space. So that's why, I mean, it just always gets planted as an idea. It's never, I don't think it isn't ever planned. It's just new information comes in. And so, the landlord gave me a call and was like, hey, it's two units down from you. It's open. What do you think? Just take a look. And that's when the ball started rolling and like, what would that look like? Do we need it? Yes. Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah. Sounds easy, but that was fun. So that was in February. And we literally took possession in March again, which is crazy because that was the same month that we took possession 3 years before that for studio. And this time we were able to share it with more people, which was fun. So shout out Joyce, Merrick, Adrian Kelvin. Who else helped? Rihanna.
Yeah.
Jesse. Brotherhood Sungi again.
Yeah. Should go back in the photos and see. Yeah. Everyone who's helping us out there.
The OG team, of course. Yeah. Uncle Jim and Dad.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was just me and my dad. Oh. Yeah, I think Studio 3 was, it was just me, my dad, and then Dev. Because Jim was busy. So, and then he basically was like, you guys got it. It's like, we've done 2. You guys can do this one. So, that was just me and my dad that did the build out for Studio 3.
So, shout out to everybody that helped us that time around. It was really fun. And it was just funny, like changing out of our paint clothes secretly, and we'd have to walk down the back hallway staircase to get to the other side and make sure there's no paint on our hands or anything. So
I remember like scheduling funny deliveries, like all the supplies we needed. We had to schedule them like early in the morning because people started coming to the studio in the early afternoon. Yeah. So we were just trying to avoid anyone getting suspicious. And I think I remember
Ryan.
Was it Ryan McEwen? Oh my goodness. I just remember coming out. I think I walked. Do you remember exactly what happened?
I think you just walked out of Studio 3 and he was there.
Yes.
In the parking lot, and you just had a
and I think it was like the fact that there was a studio was very visible, and he was just standing in the parking lot. I'm pretty sure. I opened the door. He just looks eye to eye, and I'm like, oh my goodness, oh no. And then I think I like went back inside, and then after I came out, he was in his car at that point. I was like, hey dude, I gotta ask you a really big favor. Like, you just gotta please keep this between us. And I think he did.
Yeah.
I hope he did. Maybe he didn't, but that was just like a funny time. And then I think what was cool as well was we were able to show it to our teams.
Yes.
We were able to show the space to our teams and get their reactions because they were so excited for a bigger studio, more space they can rehearse in. And I mean, just to quickly touch on our teams, I think, because I don't know if we did before, but like the teams are a huge backbone to, Studio North. And that's how we essentially started. Like it was Brotherhood and Style and Grace. And so, people often see, the drop-in classes and that's what's very open to the public, but I'm all about our teams, and we're just so grateful for all of our directors and all the team members that, believe in the vision, believe in Studio North. And we've been running on 5 years now with all of our teams and getting to travel and compete with them. So we also have that service category.
Yes. And sorry, going back to COVID, like we still ran our teams through COVID. So thank you everybody for sticking it through, or who was a part of that time, because that was hard.
Zoom rehearsals, like that was tough. And the fact that they just stuck it out and we're like, we get it, we got you guys. So really meant a lot to us.
Yes, we also got to celebrate with our faculty. We had a little opening with them. And then we had another soft opening, grand opening with just our family and friends, which was really nice. And I think, again, it's part of our heart to like build community, bring people together in this space, whether that is through dance or not. And just after all the pandemic lockdowns, all of that, it was really special to just have people come and celebrate like a new beginning. And that's something that we hope to continue to do, is just use the space any way we can, just to give back to our community and celebrate with them.
And I think that was also the first in-person year-end show we had around that time. Was that not? Because
2022
was our first in-person year-end show in 3 years of being open, because it was just all lockdown. Yeah. And so we were doing online year-end shows. We were streaming them, taking videos and streaming them. So that was just finally, we were like, oh my goodness. Like, we've only been doing live events now for 2 years because everything was locked down before that. So I think that was also really special for us, that now we get to meet up in person and like celebrate and perform and have people cheering in the crowd. And so we look forward to doing a lot more of those events as well.
Yeah. I can't believe you live streamed three year-end shows.
I think it was 2, because I'm not sure. We didn't have a year-end show in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you're just live stream expert, Home Depot expert, handyman. I was like, what's the word? I'm like, handyman.
Just the most eclectic group of skills.
Love it. I call him SOT, the Scott of all trades.
Sounds like soap. It's a horrible. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Anyways, so this year we get to celebrate 5 years Studio North Vancouver, 3 years Studio North Toronto. Very grateful.
So grateful.
But a very long journey to get here. Yeah. But also still feels like the beginning because of all the things we were thrown in the middle of the way, but keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, I just feel like now we're starting, now it's, I don't know, it just feels new, or it feels like now it's, okay, foot's on the gas. Like now it's where we were when we first opened. Because I remember when we first opened, the growth was crazy. Yeah. Everything, like things were clicking and we were moving. And then obviously lockdown happened. Whereas now, and then especially like opening new places, having to jump back and forth, all of that. Now that we've got a great team and that we've got like our vision, we know what we want to do. Now it's just foot on the gas. Like it just feels new again. Like you said, it feels like we're just getting started. I know it's 5 years. We got a huge celebration for that. But to be honest, sometimes it kind of just feels like it was a 1 year. Yeah. Like it's just a blur. Like everything that happened, feels like 2019 was yesterday. Yeah. So yeah, just super excited for what's to come.
Okay, quickly before we end, got some rapid fire questions for Scott.
Oh, no.
So we like to say that he has a memory of a goldfish. Shout out Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
You watch a show, best show. Anyways, so here we go.
Okay, give it to me.
Okay, what are the opening dates for Vancouver and Toronto? Exact dates.
Vancouver was... We got the lease in March, took us 3 months, so March, April, May, June. So it's got to be June. I'm thinking first June. No.
Give me a number.
Give you a number. June. First week of June. No?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Number. Just give me a number.
7.
No? June 9th, sorry.
Oh.
June 9th, 2019.
Are you sure?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I think we're getting we're getting a fat check up here.
Okay, I'll wait. Oh, I can't lean back.
June. So you're saying it was June 9th.
Yes.
And I'm saying it was June 7th.
Which is wrong.
Oh, let us see who is right here. We're doing a little dun-da-da. Thank you to
so
Apple
many
Photos. And all right, let's look it up here. It is June 9th. Nice. Well, I was wrong.
Toronto date. Come on, rapid fire,
Sorry.
faster.
May. We opened in. Okay, so we got the lease in November, January, February, March. We were ready. We couldn't open until April, May, June, July. End of July. I remember July 31st. Let's go.
1 point. Okay, next question.
1 for 2. 1 for 2.
1 for 2. What song is the quote on our lounge wall from?
Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G., Juicy.
Nice. Okay,
Yep.
there you go. That was fast.
I know that one.
Okay. What day did we used to teach weekly at the studio?
I think it was Friday because it was Forsyth Fridays. Yes.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank goodness for those. What are they called? Not monograms. What are they? Onomatopoeias. You start with the same letter.
This is not my rapid fire. Okay, it's yours. Who is a teacher that has been teaching weekly from the beginning since we opened Vancouver?
Kelvin 2.
Yes, shout out Kelvin.
Shout out Kelvin.
Okay, how many times have our toilets been clogged?
Oh my goodness.
In Vancouver and Toronto.
Holy, I like too many, far too many. Man.
We can list them out. It's okay. It's not rapid fire. It was just funny.
So in Vancouver, the issue is people are flushing stuff down that should not be flushed down. Come on, just don't do. And I remember, I'm going to throw a photo. I'm going to put a photo and it will make you gag. And it's to show what we had to deal with.
What you had to deal with, I did not have to deal. Well, I kind of had to deal with it because whatever was happening downstairs affected upstairs.
Yeah, should we just put a warning here? If you're so warning.
Poo trigger warning.
Poo trigger warning. If you don't like the looks of it, just don't look for 3, 2, 1. Don't look, and we're back. So had to deal with that, but that's just because people threw stuff down the toilet they shouldn't.
Also, hot take or just personal opinion. Please don't go number 2 at the studio. Can you just do it at home, or just don't do it there?
That's what it's there for.
Just please don't do it there. It's so gross.
No, it's only gross because people misuse it, and then that's what gets backed up. I know what you mean. Yeah, but it's based on people not. If everyone just used
see corn.
Oh my gosh! Don't even. Oh my gosh!
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
That was bad. So that's Vancouver. Now Toronto, we've had plumbing issues in Toronto, and that's because the building that we're in, it is an older building. We've done all the renovations.
Not old, as in
a couple years,
like the 40s,
the earlier
20s.
Yeah, it's pretty old. But we've renovated the interior, which looks great and phenomenal. Kept some character, but looks great. But things that we can't control are the fact that their sewer pipes they were ceramic, I believe, when that's what they used to use decades and decades ago. And so what happened in that instance was it was a sewer pipe that fell in on itself. And so we thought, same thing as in Vancouver, guys, who's misusing the toilets? Who's flushing stuff down?
Don't go number 2.
But then everyone was like, no, I'm pretty sure this is, but it just kept getting backed up. And then we had to call. And then the landlord was just, not really wanting to do anything. So we had to be the ones that call. It was a whole event, but I would say 5 plumbing. Probably 5 plumbing issues. I think we're better off now. We've got signs up. Everyone should know. Because it also sucks when you have to go to the bathroom and you come to the studio and then you can't because it's out of order because someone else, flushed stuff down that shouldn't have been flushed down. So.
Okay,
sorry. A little tangent. Plumbing tangent.
Okay, this one's... Oh, sorry. I should have switched it. That's okay. What song did we collab to for Valentine's Day in 2020?
Can I call a friend? Can I use a lifeline? Give me a hint. Who's the artist?
112.
Oh, thinking of you makes me... Yeah.
Nice.
I remember that. Thank you. See, I just need a little.
Only you, 112.
I need a little.
Hint.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Last one, more of a story. What animal got stuck in our Toronto studio?
That's a great story. I feel like you felt the brunt of that, so you can.
Well, yeah. Okay, so
The answer was a bird.
2 birds was correct answer.
Okay.
But so I was downstairs at the front desk, and all of a sudden I just hear like fluttering, and I'm like, oh gosh, there's a rat, there's a mouse, blah, something. And then I just see something like swoop across.
It's because the door was open.
Yes,
Yeah.
the door was open the day before.
All right, they just think it might have been summer, yeah.
Something like that. And so we start trying to I called Scott and our manager at the time to like help me get this bird out. But literally the garage is right here, the bird's here. It went this way, starts going in towards the studio.
No one's in the studio at this point, right? Yeah,
We're
it's
just
middle of the day.
Yeah, it was early. And then we started following it, like trying to help it, but it literally just kept like flying through the studio. And we're like, oh my gosh, okay, like get out. And then we realized there were 2.
Yeah.
So one, oh, this is so sad. I think I have a video, but one, because we have so many mirrors, it just like flew into the wall so many times.
Yeah.
But I think we got that one out.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I think you literally picked it up from when it hit the wall and you let it free.
Yeah.
The other one flew behind our mirror in Studio 2 and like got scared or something and went all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I think we were preparing for DP and you had stuff to do and you're like, I literally can't deal with this right now. Can you do this?
Yeah.
I'm like, do what?
Yeah.
So we were like we were standing on a ladder trying to move cords to help it fly. Like we didn't know what was going on. I thought it died in the back. I almost cried.
So traumatic. I remember we were gonna be like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a dead animal in here. And
I just remember it was like this.
Yeah, it was so helpless. So then I think I was about ready to take the wall. I started unscrewing our wall.
Yeah, the mirror wall.
Yeah, so I was gonna like take apart the wall, and I think I did. I might have taken a part of it out,
and then it helped it get out.
Yeah,
and then eventually you caught it and let it free.
Yeah, so we saved 2 birds.
Saved 2 birds.
I was gonna say
kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Oh my gosh, no, that's dark.
I know, that's what
I was gonna say like call PETA or like call like an animal organization and tell us to give us an award or something, but I don't know if that's the right organization. Is it PETA?
We saved 2 birds with
0 stones.
Scott.
Okay, that's a reach, but that was a great story.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode. Are we wrapping up as better?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Studio North Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, I hope you did. We had fun talking about behind the scenes, a bit of our journey at Studio North, and there will definitely be more stories, things to share in the following podcast. But if you enjoyed it, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Ring the notification bell.
Yeah.
What do you smash? Subscribe?
I think so, yeah.
Smash subscribe. Keep following along if you like it, and we'll hopefully see you on the next podcast.
Woo!